minds of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
It is Wednesday, March 26, 2025. My name is Sam Seder. This is the five-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, Ed DePress and Mase Veney.
Ed Dupree
And Mase Veney, organizes with the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union, and is organizing Whole Foods in Philadelphia. Also on the program, Joel Lava, organizer with Tesla Takedown, doing work across the country. Meanwhile, the release of the full-on attack plans that were exposed on a group chat have Republicans stuttering as Tulsi Gabbard is grilled in the House intel hearing. Supreme Court upholds Biden's regulation on ghost guns. Special election in Pennsylvania signals a potential wipeout for Republicans in midterms. I know that's a long way off, but that's the message. HHS hires an anti-vaxxer to head a federal study of immunization and autism. At least one of those Venezuelans deported to the Salvadoran prison is found to have been a legal refugee in this country. Treasury to lay off thousands as part of Trump and Musk's plan to debilitate our government. Senate Republicans inch closer to a deal with the House as Schumer's folly has now opened the door to massive Medicaid cuts. J.D. Vance to join his wife in Greenland and skip all public appearances for fear of protests. ProPublica report, Elon Musk, it turns out, has secret Chinese investments in SpaceX. Yesterday's Finance Committee meeting exposes Trump's Social Security Administrator nominee and his plan to junk Social Security. All this and more on today's Majority Report. Welcome to the program, folks. Emma Vigeland off today. It is, as you know, Hump Day. Lots of news. Over the course of the past 24 hours, the administration has been trying just about every single excuse they could develop or every single distraction they could think of to get out from under this obvious, it is impossible to imagine that there is anyone who takes national security seriously, even those like myself, who do not believe that we should be bombing the poorest country on earth. But no one can look at what just happened, or I should say happened over the couple of weeks ago, with the top national security experts. Let's not say experts. The most powerful national security people in the country. They are clearly not experts here. We have had conversations in this office about how to get emails from people and spent more on security than it appears these people have. It is fascinating. And I'm saying this, of course, we knew about this story yesterday. But from what The Atlantic had revealed of this conversation, Jeffrey Goldberg was holding stuff back. And again, I think you can stay on that group chat and then hold stuff back until you're kicked off it. Or you can leave that group chat and reveal this stuff. But there's an inconsistency there. But putting that aside, because all of these national security leaders, I mean, we're talking about basically the biggest names in the cabinet, right? We're talking about the Secretary of the Treasury, the Vice President, the head of the CIA, the head of the Director of the National Intelligence,
the head of white nationalism, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
Nobody was there from the state. Oh, wait, no. And Marco Rubio was on that, right? I mean, Director of the National Intelligence. I mean, and then the Chief of Staff. And then like another half dozen people. Like, let's put it this way. I don't know if they would put all of these people in a room that wasn't in a bunker because of just like the line of succession, right? Like not all of these people would be allowed to attend the State of the Union because they keep one person just away from that building just in case that there's somebody to and all of these people are on there. And what we did not realize yesterday, because they have all tried to cover their tracks from this incredible incompetence that is shown here, they all came out and said, no, we didn't talk about anything that was like in any way dangerous or classified. Papa, do you have that? Get that Atlantic thing. No, get the Atlantic piece up there. Sorry. We should have had that, because what I didn't realize was, and nobody did, Jeffrey Goldberg said, the one that came out, here are all the attack plans that Trump's advisors shared on Signal. They literally put all the attack plans in real time. Yeah. Scroll down on this. And Jeffrey Goldberg released it now because they all said it wasn't classified. Okay, well, we can't show that, but I'll read from it. It is astonishing what is in there, because they have gone through. At 11:44, Hegseth posted in the chat, team update. 12:15 Eastern, F-18s launch, first strike package. Then trigger-based F-18 first strike window starts. They're telling the Times that these attack planes are going to launch. At 14:10, more F-18s will launch. At 14:15, strike drones on target. 15:36, F-18, second strikes start. And the best part is, at one point he says, we are currently clean on OPSEC. OPSEC means operational security. Scroll through there, you'll see it. Yeah, there we go. And if you go down, you can actually see the actual chats. Goldberg released these too because they're lying about what was there. But this is stunning stuff. And I mean, again, I don't believe that we should have been supporting the Saudis in their bombing of Yemen. I don't believe that we should have been involved in attacking Yemen under the Biden administration. And I don't believe we should be doing this. But the idea, keep going down, you'll see it. The idea that they are literally putting these plans out in a, first off, it appears that Ratcliffe may have lied yesterday when he said, yeah, look at here. He is literally, this is it. This is amazing. I want to make this clear. At 12:15, he's not saying the F-18's just launched. He is literally giving the menu. 8 p.m., we're going to be serving hors d'oeuvres. At 8:15, we're going to be putting out the appetizer. At 8:30, we're going to be doing... I mean, this is...
If this isn't classified, what do they classify?
Exactly. I mean, honestly, like, and here's the thing. If Jeffrey Goldberg was, I don't know, I mean, anybody else, really, they would have published this stuff. Maybe somebody else. I mean, you've got 18 people on there. Nobody asks, who's that JG? Who's that JG?
They need to know the takeoff times of our fighter planes.
I mean, somebody could have, this could have been an incredible disaster. And they're obviously doing this with a bunch of other chats. Nobody's on that chat going, hey, should we be doing this? And imagine if they're talking about stuff this sensitive. I honestly don't know what could be more sensitive than this. Here are our war plans. I don't know what could be more sensitive than this. They're using it for anything and everything. Here is Congressman Jim Himes. Remember yesterday, the Senate Intel asked Tulsi Gabbard, what's the deal with this? And she was like, oh, I can't talk about it because there's an investigation. I have no idea like which phone it was, or there's an ongoing investigation and I can't refer to it. She doesn't quite have that line today. And again, the problem is that depending on which person, they're all out to save their own hides. And they all know there's one way to do this. Praise Donald Trump and then save their own hides. And maybe try and deflect blame on somebody else.
Someone's going to take the fall.
And they're talking like, this Jeffrey Goldberg is a scumbag. And it's like, well, okay, put aside my thoughts of Jeffrey Goldberg. You're saying this guy's the worst guy in the world. Doesn't that make letting him in on your plans to attack Yemen that much worse?
You should be saying, oh, it's just Jeffrey Goldberg. Like, he's a friendly.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, Steve Bannon, but I mean, you know, he's involved, whatever. It's amazing.
We're transparent.
They're complete cross purposes with themselves. Here's Himes in today's hearing on the Hill.
Yes, Ranking Member. My answer yesterday was based on my recollection or the lack thereof on the details that were posted there. I was not, and what was shared today reflects the fact that I was not directly involved with that part of the Signal chat and replied at the end reflecting the effects, the very brief effects that the National Security Advisor had shared.
So it's your testimony that less than 2 weeks ago, you were on a Signal chat that had all of this information about F-18s and MQ-9 Reapers and targets on strike, and you in that 2-week period simply forgot that that was there. That's your testimony?
My testimony is I did not recall the exact details of what was included.
Pause it. I want to make it clear what's going on here. She is explaining to Himes why she said yesterday that this stuff wasn't classified, which caused Goldberg to release it, because if it's not classified, and incidentally, it's not like they just took it. They contacted all of these agencies, and the agencies didn't respond. The only one that responded was the CIA that said, hey, will you redact the name of that guy that is the undercover agent that Ratcliffe pretended wasn't? Remember, because Ratcliffe yesterday said, there's no problem with that dude being on there.
It's just chill.
Just chill. And so now Himes is saying, wait, so yesterday you said it was not classified, and today you're suggesting that it is because now you found out what was on there. You forgot that there was literally Director of National Intelligence, folks. Incidentally, like, I mean, it's not like she's like, Well, I'm just, I'm the CDC, so I didn't really.
It's like
I didn't pay attention to all the jet talk.
Sometimes I am you stuff. Sometimes we text, and it's hard to keep track of like which channel that went.
No, and a lot of times Matt will ignore stuff like, where I'm talking about stuff that maybe he's not interested in, like 90% of it.
Let's throw an emoji at the end.
Nevertheless, he'll do exactly. That's apparently what she did.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Good.
Had shared.
So it's your testimony that less than 2 weeks ago, you were on a Signal chat that had all of this information about F-18s and MQ-9 Reapers and targets on strike, and you in that 2-week period simply forgot that that was there. That's your testimony?
My testimony is I did not recall the exact details of what was included there.
That was not your testimony. Your testimony was that you were not aware of anything related to weapons packages, targets, and timing.
As the testimony yesterday continued on, there were further questions related to that, where I acknowledged that there was conversation about weapons, and I don't remember the exact wording that I used, but I did not recall the specific details that were included.
Okay, so in other words, she can't remember the testimony that she had yesterday as well. I've forgotten everything. So last night, Himes is on with Will Cain, who I would imagine, or is that last night or was this morning? I think it was last night. Yesterday afternoon. He's on with Will Cain, who I imagine must feel pretty embarrassed today with what has come out. And Himes is rather angry. And again, like, this is no, I'm not editorializing on Himes. Oh, I am editorializing on Cain. And, but this is, I'm sorry, like, the amount of stuff that this government classifies and is supposed to be secret, and this stuff they're doing on a Signal, it's just insane. Go ahead.
But that was not a serious mistake, putting American lives into jeopardy. And I think that your side is doing this to score political points. The first political points they've been able to accomplish.
Now pause and understand, Will Cain did not realize that Goldberg was going to release what was actually the actual substance on that chat. Again, I remind you, it is Pete Hegseth literally laying out the timing.
Down to the minute.
Down to the minute. 14:10, F-18s launch. 14:15, strike drones on target. 15:36, F-18 second strike starts. This is all saying this is what's going to happen. Not in real time. Literally saying 2 hours out in advance. This is how it's going to go, guys. Which is also just sort of like, wait, what? Why are you giving this information to any of these
are you
people?
flexing? Like, are you trying to make yourself look important? Why does
No,
Scott
it's the opposite. I think he's not sure. Like, anybody see a problem with this? Hey, guys, this is the plan, but if there's something that looks funny here, let me know. There's a real quality of like, I'm not 100% confident in this. Like, why is he sharing this with these 18 people on this Signal chat in the first place? Like, even if it's in like this is the kind of, like, it's insane. And it really does beg the question of like, what stuff are they not using?
What else is in their Signal chats?
Go ahead.
I think that your side is doing this to score political points. The first political points they've been able to accomplish in 2 months.
Well, what we're talking about here, and I've spent a decade now watching how our intelligence community communicates with the warfighter. So I am not going to listen to you tell me that this is about a partisan advantage. It is a mistake, and yes, it's a very serious mistake. Because if you make a mistake in Social Security and grandma doesn't get a phone call through, that's bad. But there is not zero risk that our young men and women in uniform, the ones who flew those F-35s and F-18s,
Congressman, how was an American life put into jeopardy?
We will find
Congressman,
out.
How? Fine, you've made a claim. Tell me how an American life was put into jeopardy.
Because in an insecure channel, in what was acknowledged as a mistake before, whether it was a day or 2 hours or 5 hours, in a signal chat that we know. Do you want an answer to your question? In a signal chat that we know that the Russians could intercept, they might have told the Houthis in an hour. And in half an hour, they're moving their anti-aircraft stuff around. It is by the grace of God that we don't have dead pilots or sunken ships right now. And I will tell you, whether it's a big mistake or a small mistake, to then go and attack Jeffrey Goldberg, without whom we wouldn't even know about this mistake, it's got to make...
Including Jeffrey Goldberg was the mistake. Including Jeffrey Goldberg was the mistake.
And get any military officer on your show right now, Will. Get any military officer serving right now, any intelligence officer, and they will tell you that Jeffrey Goldberg was the cherry on top of using an insecure channel in advance to discuss military plans.
I'm not going to argue, Congressman. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue that no mistake was made. And I'm not going to argue that Signal is the perfectly appropriate app to have this conversation. What I am going to
perfectly appropriate. Okay, look, I want to just show you this. I just find this extraordinary. Can you get back to the actual right here? Okay, look. All right. Scroll up. Again, I want to just remind you, this is Hegseth with the team update. And this happened sometime before 12:13 p.m. Okay? Scroll down and you'll see. He goes through everything that's going to happen. First, the F-18s are going to launch. Then an hour and a half an hour later, the trigger-based F-18 at strike window starts. At 14:10, this will be 2:10, more F-18s launch. Okay, so he's doing this at around 12:15, just at like about, time now, 11:44 is when he's telling everybody this. So he's talking about things that are going to launch in an hour, 2 hours, half an hour, et cetera, et cetera. Then he says at 2:15, the strike drones will hit the target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop because the other airplanes will be in the sky. At 3:36, the F-18 second strike starts. And then sea-based Tomahawks launched. More to follow per timeline. We are currently clean on OPSEC.
10-4, good buddy.
10-4, good buddy. Now roll down. Now look. It is all of this stuff. And then J.D. Vance says, I'll say a prayer for victory.
2 emoji prayer hands.
2 emoji prayer hands from other people. And that's at 12:15. Okay. And then Mike Waltz says, we're going to disappear this in 4 weeks. I wonder why. Wonder why he feels that it's necessary to have any security whatsoever on this. And then Waltz says, building collapse had multiple positive ID. Amazing job. Now understand, this is, keep scrolling. Okay. And J.D. Vance says, what? And then their first target, the top missile guy, we had positive ID of him walking into his girlfriend's building, and now it's collapse. J.D. Vance, excellent. I mean, they're psychopaths too, incidentally. But this is all happening. And then at 5:14, the Secretary of State says, good job, Pete and your team. This is so messed up. It is so messed up. This is such a abject failure. First of all, it also puts the lie, like, why should any of this be? I think they should announce all of the war plans before any attack ever.
And all takeoffs of the fighter jets and stuff.
The idea that Republicans would be able to sort of be the daddy party of national security after this is just absurd.
Remember the Geraldo thing where he drew a map in the sand in Iraq and it was like a scandal for like 2 weeks?
It's nuts. Do you have any idea like what would happen if this had happened during a Democratic administration? It would be wall to wall. I don't care if the exact same dynamic it was happening. I don't care if it was all Democrats. I don't care if the Democrats controlled the House, 75 senators to 25 and 400 to 35 in the House. We would be hearing about this until my 6th grader goes to college. This is just like incredible. And the only reason why, like, you know, again, I don't want to be attacking Yemen at all. But if this is what they're doing with what is theoretically the most sensitive possible information you could have. I mean, short of like, hey guys, let's do it's time for our weekly pool on what the codes are to the nuclear weapons. Yeah. And if you get it right, I'll let you know. I mean, aside from that, like, hypothetically speaking, can you even come up with something that's more sensitive than
like
this?
Spying on our allies, probably, like
right.
That information.
Yeah. Hey guys, listen, I was just digging through the files. It turns out, guess who killed Princess Di? I mean, this is just extraordinary. In a moment, we're going to be talking to Joel Lava, organizer with Tesla Takedown. First, a couple of words from our sponsors. Going online without ExpressVPN is like going on a group chat and not checking who's on it. Super insecure. Most of the time, you're probably fine. One of the times, it turns out you're giving highly sensitive information on a planned attack to a reporter. I want to thank ExpressVPN for supporting the Majority Report. Here's the deal. Visit expressvpn.com/majority and you can get an extra 4 months free. Every time you connect to an unencrypted network, cafes, hotels, airports, malls, your online data is not secure. Any hacker on the same network can gain access and steal your personal data. Doesn't take much technical knowledge to hack somebody. Just some cheap hardware is needed. A smart 12-year-old could do it. Honestly, my son literally says, I hope you're using a VPN, Dad. I'm like, I am. It's once. What do you know? What are you even talking about? Your data is valuable. Hackers can make up to $1,000 per person selling personal info on the dark web. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. It'd take a hacker a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past ExpressVPN's encryption. Fire up the app, click one button to get protected. Super easy, folks. Works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure on the go. Rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. Super easy to use. I think that's why my son was so surprised that I use it. It is super easy. One click. That's all you got to do. You don't even realize you're using it. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/majority. That's EXPRESSVPN. EXPRESSVPN.com/majority. Get an extra 4 months free. expressvpn.com/majority. Link will be in the podcast and YouTube description. Also, is your cat having digestive issues? Throwing up their food? Or is your cat simply in need of a diet upgrade? Well, we've all been there. You should check out our next sponsor, Smalls. This podcast is sponsored by Smalls. To get 50% off your first order plus free shipping, head to smalls.com and use our promo code MAJORITY. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you're going to find in your fridge. And it's delivered right to your door. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. My late cat enjoyed Smalls briefly. Sort of a upgrade for him when I found out he had cancer. But Matt's cats, Matt, how's your cats liking Smalls?
I mean, they loved it. They loved both the wet food and also the dry food mixed with the sort of not gravy, but like additive liquid that you can put on broth, I guess you'd call it. Ate it right up.
Smalls also has a bunch of amazing treats and snacks you can add to your order. New York Magazine called Smalls the best cat food, according to veterinarians. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements, and that's a big deal, of course. And if you have a picky cat, Smalls has a sampler, so your cat can try everything Smalls has to offer. The team at Smalls is so confident your cat's going to love their product, you can try it. Here's the best part, risk-free. That means if your cat won't eat it, they'll refund you. Your cat's going to eat it. believe me. What are you waiting for? Give your cat the food they deserve. Head to smalls.com. Use promo code majority at checkout. 50% off your first order. Plus free shipping. That's the best offer you're going to find. But you have to use our code majority for 50% off your first order. One last time. That's promo code majority. 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Links in the podcast and YouTube descriptions. Going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll be talking to Joel Lava about Tesla Takedown. We are back. Sam Seder on the Majority Report. Emma Vigeland out today. Pleasure to welcome to the program Joel Lava, organizer with Tesla Takedown in LA. Last week was your 9th straight week protesting, Joel. And I got to say, well, first tell us about what Tesla Takedown is and what the thinking is behind it, because I actually think that it's really, generally, I'm not a big consumer protest guy, but I think this one is incredibly effective. But tell us why you guys started, how you got started in this.
I actually agree. I think boycotts and protests aren't always effective. Like the fire protest, the post office protests are barely getting coverage. But Elon Musk, as the owner of Twitter, who tweets 200 times a day and is a sensitive fella, his source of power and wealth is primarily Tesla and his ownership of Tesla. So the thinking was to go directly at Tesla to tarnish the brand and bring down the value of his brand and directly impact his power and wealth. So that was the thinking, and it's been pretty effective so far. It started just I started 9 weeks ago. I was one of the first. I didn't do it coordinated with anyone, just had to do something other than just scream at our phone. So we went out, and it started as 2 people 9 weeks ago, and it's gotten up to 300 at a couple locations. And it's the stock has come down. It's doing a little bit of a dead cat bounce right now, but things are going really well.
It's interesting, I know they're doing it here in Gowanus on Saturdays at noon. I know this because there's at least 1 or 2 people around this area who is putting up signs. And I also notice, what I've been noticing is that somebody's also putting flyers, could be the same person or other people, putting flyers on people's Teslas saying, sell your car. And so what is give me a sense of that relationship between his wealth and power. It's not just a matter of annoying this guy, right? I mean, there is a serious impact potential for him, it seems to me, if that Tesla stock continues to drop. And we know that they have problems in Europe because people just aren't buying the cars like they used to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, first of all, we know it can't be forgotten that going after Tesla and Musk is really going after Trump and the people who control Trump. And we know that Trump values really wealthy people because he feels accepted. So there's that really childish dynamic at play. Also, it's been reported that if the stock falls to a certain point where it goes under 100, Musk will be a victim of margin calls. He loses all his leverage, and it could throw him into serious financial jeopardy. And I think if we were to succeed at all that, it shows the power of the people in a very quick amount of time, and that means we can be more empowered to take on other challenges with our protests.
Now, where did that number $100 come from? Right? Because I know, like, I've been looking at the Tesla stock, and it almost doubled after the election. And the question becomes, did Musk, go long on the stock? What's his margin? Is he borrowing against it? I mean, he's definitely borrowing against it, I think, for income and to finance other things, but nobody knows where those loans have valued the Tesla stock, right? So is 100 a speculative number? Or do you guys have reason to believe that number is, there's more to that number?
No, I've seen reports. It's like, I saw it somewhere around 70. I haven't seen like actual verification. I don't know if actual receipts exist, but I've seen it reported. And as far as the stock inflating, I mean, it's arguable that the whole Tesla stock is hype inflation. It's basically a meme stock now. Its price to earnings ratio, it's valued at like 40 times more than what like Toyota is valued at. And it's just all hype, as we see from like the Cybertruck that you can pull apart with your hands. And the Boring Company, which isn't doing anything. Like a lot of Musk's success is just hype, and obviously Tesla has done well, but it's not here to like save the day as God's gift to mankind, which is how it's made out to be.
So, is there a national Tesla Takedown group? And so how do people do this in their town? Like how do people do this in their towns?
Yeah. Well, I started first, I was only posting on Reddit. I discovered there was like a local Reddit for my own town. But then I started to go into Indivisible. They have a really good way of notifying people for rallies, and then TeslaTakedown.com. And that's where me and many other people have gotten involved with internal calls, and they've had public calls where people like Jasmine Crockett spoke at one of the calls. So Tesla Takedown has really taken this by the horns. It was founded on the fly organically by some people who have a lot of experience in grassroots organizing and protests. So what you do is you can host your own protest. And by the way, Saturday is the big global day of action, they're calling it, where their Tesla Takedown is trying to get a protest at every single Tesla showroom in the country. There's about 500. And all you have to do is sign up. And then all you do is you show up with a homemade sign. There's ways to get signs online, or at Tesla Takedown, they have examples. They have examples of chants you can do. And even one person with a sign can be very effective in piquing people's interest and getting people to pull out their phones and post on social media. What's going on here? So yeah, TeslaTakedown.com might be the best way to go right now, because it's really catching fire with the large group of organizers and people like me who are organizing protests on our own to go and meet.
This is great stuff. And I appreciate the work you're doing, Joel. And we will put a link, obviously, to Tesla Takedown. And folks, get out there. There's it's also, I imagine, a great opportunity to sort of like meet people and organize for what ultimately may be future, reasons to organize, whether that's like demonstrations or setting a group or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, I've literally met people out there. I'm helping with 2 protests on Saturday, and I couldn't make one, so I reached out to someone I didn't know to see if they could help sponsor the other one, and they said yes. And I got to tell you, like, hearing the horn honks, the dopamine you get from that is worth like 100 likes on regular social media. It's just invigorating, and it builds on itself, and then everyone's cheering. And hearing all the honks of people driving by also, it's a lot. And it lets you know there's a lot of people out there who are supportive. And I also would say the most honks we get are from Tesla drivers, because you got to think most of the people who buy Teslas are socially conscious, environmentally conscious liberals. And they don't know what to do. So the least they can do is honk and support us. So yeah, it's great. Instead of just staring at your screen or Twitter or Blue Sky and getting upset, getting out there, cheering with other people. It's really invigorating. And yeah, it's growing.
Wait, have you had conversations with any like former Tesla owners or current Tesla owners who are like, I don't know what to do, or I'm just curious?
Yeah, actually had at the Tesla showroom in Burbank. It's a Tesla service center. We interviewed a guy. He went to go try and get out of his lease or try to sell it, and they were giving him a hard time, not being amenable. And everyone who we talked to who has a Tesla and that says they want to get rid of it, they're saying, and it is reported as well, that the used resale value is plummeting. They're underwater, they're stuck. They really want to move on. And there's a lot of other good options. Not just all the major car manufacturers now have great options in electric, but Lucid and VinFast and Rivian, those are all great options. And a lot of those especially the like Rivian and Lucid, are having specials for 0% financing if you trade in your Tesla. So that's a smart way to immediately convert someone to your brand.
Oh, that's pretty good. All right, we're going to put links to Tesla Takedown. Joel Lobb, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thanks. Big fan of Majority Report. Go, guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, folks. We're going to take a quick break. These guys here?
Not yet, but we're telling the call now.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Ed Dupree and Mase Veney, they are organizers with United Food and Commercial Workers International. These guys are right in the middle of, they have voted for a union in Philly, and now they're butting up against the Trump administration's assault on the National Labor Relations Board. And we're going to talk to them about what they're going to do when all of this, the apparatus that has been around for the past couple of years has been completely shut down. We'll be right back in just a minute with those two union organizers. We are back. Sam Seder on the Majority Report. Emma Vigeland out today. I want to welcome to the program Mase Veney, organizer with the United Food and Commercial Workers International. This is the union that is organizing workers at Whole Foods in Philadelphia. We were anticipating one of your co-workers, Ed Dupree, had a little technical issues with that. Sorry about that. But we got you here, Mase. Mase, just give us a little bit of like a history of where we are today. But go back in terms of how you started organizing. Whole Foods, of course, is a subsidiary now, or I don't even consider it a subsidiary. It's part of Amazon. But give us a little bit of a history of you. Maybe we start with like how long you've been working there, and at what point you decided you needed to unionize.
I've been with Whole Foods for about 3 years, working in the produce department, going on 4. It started, with frustrations. You talk to a lot of workers every day. A lot of, and then a lot of changes around the job. Work environment got more, hostile, more, very petty work environment. You started getting rid of full-time workers, hiring part-timers back, putting more workload on the body, but then also paying the same, and they was getting real stingy with the job dialogues. Job dialogue is, you raise every year, you do an evaluation. And then, they added things like UPT, like it was an hour, something separate from your PTO time, a quick way to get people fired, and, you talk to your coworkers every day. I know Ed got together with me. I had a lot of frustrations with the job, the way they were treating me, unfair treatment. And then, we decided to meet up.
So did Ed approach you, or did you, did Ed approach you first, or was...
So I had frustrations already with the job. We talk about the job every day with people, and we came together, and, we had the thought to, come together and talk to people together with who shared the same frustrations as us. And it started with about 5 of us. And, 5 of us became 10, 10 became 20, 20 became 30. And then it just went on from there.
I'm interested in this little dynamic of it, because I think it's one of the most crucial parts of people who want to unionize their own shop. Mm-hmm. And I've had conversations with this, like folks from Starbucks and whatnot. Yeah. So you and Ed get together, you guys have been just talking in general, and you both realize you both sort of got a series of complaints, and maybe a couple other folks who so we should go talk to, Jim or Nancy, and we'll take them one at a time. How strategic or were you in who you would approach? Did you at this stage, when you and Ed were like, hey, we have some common grievances, maybe we should start talking about a union, who else would we talk to? Did you guys literally write out a list, or was it casual? I just happened to talk to this coworker at this time? How much thought went into who you would talk, the sequencing of it?
First, it was very casual and natural. Somebody would bring up a complaint about the job. You always could tell, people were frustrated with the job. And then it would start like that, conversation. I know you had some people that you knew, not to talk to, but I think it just started off with us having connections already before the union even became a thing. So, we would talk to people who we would talk to every day about the job, people that you already knew. You already could tell if somebody's frustrated, that they would be down for that. So it just started off with talking to people you trusted, and then you got other people who talk to people they trust, and then you kind of come together and do that. But I don't think, we did, have later down the line, certain people we knew not to talk to, but it started off very casual, just talking about the job. That's how it started off.
Okay. And so then at what point did you say, okay, we have the numbers now, we've talked to enough people, and my friends have talked to their friends. Did you then have a meeting with 50 or 100 people? How many people work at the Whole Foods?
I think at the time it was 400.
Okay. So at what point did you first go to an outside union and say, hey, can you help us with this? Or did you have a meeting? What was the sequencing there?
If I'm not mistaken, like I said, Ben and Ed, had some of these ideas, but I know that they you know, we had a certain percentage because, you know, it's 30%, right? And I think it started off with the union thing wasn't.
30% is the number that the union will start to organize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we overachieved. We got, I think, 60% already, but it didn't start off with us thinking about an outside source with the union. First, it started about, you know, trying to do it, you know, ourselves. And I think we had the idea, you know, to go with somebody who could, you know, a union that understood a grocery store. You know, UFCW understands how it runs and how it goes. You know what I mean? And, you know, we decided to, you know, ask them and partner with them, you know, for help. But we had already had about like 60% people who already felt that way. And that's how it started, you know, when it built up. Once we got like 60%, it was kind of like, okay, we got to do something about that. Yeah.
I mean, you walk in with 60% of the workers, that union's got to be like, oh, this is great. Yeah. Right? I mean,
for sure.
And so then, okay, so when was it that the United Food Commercial Workers International got involved? When was that? And then what happened after that?
If I'm not mistaken, I think around the summertime. I know Ed Ben will know a little bit more than me, but sure. I know we decided to start the signing cards after that. We held meetings, you know, just to get people updated, you know, just for them to share their knowledge and what to expect, what we're trying to do next. I know we held meetings pretty, you know, regularly. You know, I mean, as much as people could come. And then we started the signing cards. So that's kind of what happened after we decided, you know, the UFCW, we decided to go that path.
So those cards are being signed when it's still the Biden presidency and the National Labor Relations Board is hospitable to unions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and so when did you guys ultimately vote on unionizing?
The vote was held January 27th. So just before, like a little bit after, like Trump had got in there, you know, so the vote was January 27th. Yeah.
And so what were the results of the vote?
We won 130 to 100. So yeah, okay. It was pretty comfortable.
All right. So you guys won a pretty good vote. And what happens? Like, okay, now you guys win the vote. But the National Labor Relations Board is the one that says, okay, we certify the vote. You guys are a union. I mean, this is the way it was 3 months ago, I guess now, 4 months ago. You're now a union, and now the clock is starting to run in terms of like whether you get a contract or not. What happens now? Like you win the vote, but there's no National Labor Relations Board because Trump illegally, in my estimation, fired a couple of the commissioners, and there needs to be a quorum.
Yeah. So, you know, we all knew, you know, it was kind of coincidence, you know, fired the member right after we had won our vote. Like you said, you know, we knew, you know, going into it after we went Amazon was going to be very difficult. And they were going to do everything in their power to, you know, waste time. Because that's what this is generally all about, wasting as much time as possible, making people wait as much time as possible. And, you know, we talked about this a lot. And that's why, you know, we can't rely on, you know, the NRRB to do their job and worry about what they're doing. We got to keep doing what we're doing, and we got to keep bringing people together. And we talked about that a bunch. You know what I mean? We got to keep bringing people together and put pressure on them to do the right thing and do what they have to do, because they're not going to do the right thing on their own. And we see that. So, you know, that's why, you know.
So this isn't, so you're in the stage where it's not a question of like you have some imprimatur or you have this label, you're union or not union or official or not official. Right now, it's just sheerly about the relationship that you have with your fellow workers.
Yeah.
And that's where the power is emanating from. Are you, when you win that election and it's 160 to 100, what did you got? 130 to 100. How did you guys then say, we need another 40 or 50 of these people to like really have, because we're not going to get this sort of official status from the National Labor Relations Board because it's basically destroyed. We need to get those. So what did you guys start to do in that moment?
Reaching out to people who saw what we did and help and trying to, and inform them on how to start what we did. You're going to need people in that store who work there every day that people trust, because this is all about what you said, trust. This is why we won. We were at extreme disadvantage during this election. Whole Foods and Amazon was able to throw a lot of things at us, and we won because of trust. So, trying to teach people and show people how to do these things, like we did it, within the community that trusts them. You know what I mean? Because you need more people. You're stronger in numbers. You need more people to put pressure on these companies. That's the only way they're ever going to do what they need to do. So, that was our thing, trying to educate and teach, because we've been through it already. Trying to educate and teach other people that, could do the same thing, because we need each other.
You're going out there and trying to develop deeper relationships with the rest of these workers. What is the management trying to do to sow dissent? Because I imagine they're not sitting there going like, hey guys, if you guys need a meeting room or anything like that, or, I know you guys are meeting, so why don't you take one of those crudités that we got down in, in produce and, enjoy the food. Like, they're not doing that, right?
No, the number one thing you can do is separate people. I noticed they've been giving certain things to some people who are like doing their anti-union, regular workers like, me, Ed, and Ben, giving them special treatment, giving them certain things to be against us. Cause that's how that's the main way how you stop unions. You separate each other, lying, blatant lies, telling people your money gonna get taken away, all that stuff, just ways to make us so we don't trust each other anymore. It was separate, you know what I mean? And, it worked on a few people, but, you just stay strong, and you prepare people for this because you knew it was coming anyway.
Right. So they're trying to locate the people who are the most anti-union, maybe, and they're saying like, hey, here's a bonus this week, or they're literally like, take a crudité home, that type of thing, so that it creates that dissent. How is it going? Like, I mean, how has been the project of trying to sort of expand the relationships beyond those 130 who have indicated that they trust the union? And how do you keep those people, like, are you guys starting to do stuff more socially, or are you just trying to, like, what are the sort of like tactical things that you do, to develop these relationships?
You keep people involved, you meetings and stuff like that. You talk to people, let them know that, we still, are going to do what we need to do, outside of just, waiting around and doing that. I know we have meetings, we keep people involved, we talk to people every day, let them know what's okay. Let them know how everything's going. We make sure they okay, because it's been a long process. It was a long, exhausting process. And then, you got new people that's been coming into the store too. You got to try to talk to them and kind of let them know, because, the company's not going to let them know that what happened at the store. And a lot of them come in and they don't know about the union and what's happening. So I make sure, and Ed, me, and a lot of our organizers, we make sure that we keep these people educated, while trying to keep a deep connection. Not just bombarding them with, this is what happened, this was going, talking to them, learning them, you know what I mean? So, just, keeping that connection, keep people involved, let them know what we're doing, let them know, include them. People want to feel included, and they want to know that they, that we're, that things are moving along, regardless if, they're not doing what they need to do or not, the company.
So where are things in that respect? Like, I have the company, I imagine, is saying like, well, we can't recognize you as a union because the National Labor Relations Board hasn't said anything. What do you guys do in that instance? Do you say like, we don't care, let's negotiate right now? Or do you start saying like, we're going to build towards, maybe we need to have a strike? Or I mean, what do you do in this instance? And obviously there may be some stuff that you can't say because, this isn't like an attack on Yemen where you want to share this information, like a national security information with everybody on some type of like group chat. But to the extent that you can tell us, tell me.
I mean, you know, they're making us wait, certification and all that stuff. But you just gotta, talk and do things that control things we can control, and I can't say I don't want to say too much of the things that we got.
No,
Are we
I
thinking
understand.
about?
Okay,
But,
I totally get that. Yes,
yeah.
you're much smarter about this than our Secretary of Defense of the country. I will say that very much. All right, well, so there are things that you guys are doing, and in the meantime, you're trying to just build that solidarity amongst people.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you lastly, like the customers. Like, are you getting support from the community? How much of that is involved? Because I imagine, right, there's a set group of people who shop there. And, I'm sure there's some variance, but, people are in habits. I always go to the same grocery store for the most part. What do you guys do in terms of the customer base?
Customers have been very good to us. I had a lot of customers come up to us and say they support us, and ask us what's going on, how we doing, and stuff like that. And I think the community's been very, very good to us. Even sometimes during the vote, having customers come up have swayed a couple people who were like in the middle, seeing the support from their communities behind them. So, they keep they put a lot of our, they inform other people, you know what I mean? Like, I know I have people come up and it's like, they've been sending videos around, they've seen videos around, their roommates are sending videos, their mom is sending videos and stuff like that. So the community has been very good to us and very helpful, even after the vote, asking us how we doing, is everything okay, what's happening now, so customers, the same customers, you see the same people every day, you kind of build a connection with them too. And it's been very nice. The community's been very good to us and I had our back a lot.
Well, that's good to know. And it's good to know both, like, it's encouraging to hear, but it's also good to know, I think, for people in the audience who are like, how do I help when I see a strike? It really does help a lot when customers or just other people come and offer their support.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, it boosts you a lot, Well,
that's great. Well, Mase, anything else you think that we should know?
Other than, you're watching this, we're stronger in numbers, you don't wait around for the change, be the change. So I'm going to say.
All right. Beautiful. Mase Veney, one of the organizers with the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union, organizing Whole Foods in Philadelphia. Tell Ed, sorry we didn't get to connect with him, but hopefully we'll hear, you guys will have reason to come back soon.
Yeah.
When things start rolling, we would love to hear from you. Really appreciate the work you're doing. And honestly, like, you guys are on the vanguard of this because I would imagine, if not the first shop to vote to unionize in this new era of a different National Labor Relations Board. If you're not the first, you got to be close, right? I mean, 5 days after he's inaugurated. And what you guys are doing there is going to be meaningful, not just for your store and not just for other Whole Foods, but I think what you guys are doing there is going to be meaningful for the entire labor movement across the country, who's going to have to deal with a more hostile regime on a federal level. And you guys are going to be able to show that you can still get this done, even with those forces against you. And I really appreciate the work you're doing.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you for keeping our story out there too, informing people. I mean, it means a lot. The more people to hear it, the more people, we can encourage, the better.
Do you guys have a website or something like that? If people want to, they're not in Philadelphia, but want to support you guys?
Well, we have a Instagram page, Philadelphia Philly Workers. Let me see. I'll tell you exactly what it is.
Philly Whole Food
Philly
Workers.
Whole Food Workers. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you got it right there.
I don't remember mine either, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to put a link to that. Folks should all just go and follow those Philly Whole Food Workers because at one point they're going to need your support. And great to send that around and inspire people. Again, Mase, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
All right, folks. Wow, look at that. 107. It's like a record that we are landing the ship within an hour of starting. Hour 10. folks, it's your support that that makes this show possible. You can become a member at jointhemajorityreport.com. When you do, you not only support, you get the free show free of commercial, but you also get the fun half. And you help this show survive and thrive. There's a bunch of other things you can do, too. You can like our Instagram page, or I should say follow our Instagram page, Grandpa. You can, if you're watching on Twitch, somebody asked at the top of the show, who was it? Somebody asked at the top of the show, which do you prefer? Watch on YouTube or Twitch, or does it not matter? It matters to us that you watch where you are comfortable. But if you are watching on Twitch, not only would I say poggers, but I would also say, hey, if you're a Prime member, you're already paying for to sponsor a show. You can just go into your profile and assign that to us. Right? Is that how that works?
That's how it works, yeah, if you have a Prime subscription. Also, we are at 90,774 followers on Twitch. So we are approaching the 100K mark, which would be very nice to get to. So if you're watching and not following, it costs nothing to follow. So
costs nothing to follow us on Twitch. And supposedly that's good to have followers. Instagram.
It's better than not having them.
Also, send our clips around. Send our clips around to your friends, your family. We post them on our YouTube show, and we put them on Facebook too, I think. So check all that out.
I don't know anything about that.
Also, if you listen to the podcast, go to iTunes and give us a good review or whatever podcast app you use. It's really disparate, that world, but. Wherever you are, if you can support us in that way. And again, if you want the fun half but don't have the funds, send us an email at majorityreporters@gmail.com and put in the subject line, fun half help, and we will help you. We will work something out. Because we do not want finance to keep people locked out of the show. Matt. Left Reckoning. I've been wearing your Left Reckoning hat a lot. I should say we have Majority Report merch, but also the Left Reckoning merch. Pretty good.
LeftReckoning.com/store or something like that, where you can get
That's well done.
to that. Yeah, it's somewhere around there.
Went to the Sam Seder School of Promotion.
It's close enough. The internet's good enough to find that. But last night we had Jeet here on talking about Chuck Schumer and Lacan, because him and David are big Lacanians, I guess. And also Zoe Bowman on talking about a young woman from Iran who's been detained for 2 years, who fled the persecution of women in Iran, only to be persecuted by our border police and be told by a judge that, well, her dad can go free, but she has to stay in detention. So horrible sort of situation there. Patreon.com/LeftReckoning, where we get into a Glenn Greenwald versus Megyn Kelly debate from a couple weeks ago. That was kind of interesting, where Megyn Kelly, I mean, like all these right wingers are basically like, yeah, who cares about due process? They're brown people. Like, what do I care? Play me a violin. It's, I guess we'll see a little bit more of that with Tim Pool in the fun half today.
All right, folks. See you in that very same fun half. 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now. And I don't think it's going to be the same as it looks like in 6 months from now. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to be better 6 months from now than it is 3 months from now. But I think around 18 months out, we're going to look back and go like, wow. What? What is that going on? It's nuts. Wait a second. Hold on for a second.
The Majority Report.
Emma, welcome to the program.
Hey.
Matt.
What is up, everyone?
Nomi Key.
You did it. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Bradley, you want to say hello?
Sorry to disappoint everyone. I'm just a random guy.
It's all the boys today.
Fundamentally false. No, I'm sorry. Women's...
Stop talking for a second and let me finish.
Where is this coming from, dude?
But dude, you want to smoke this 7-8?
Yes.
Hi, me? Is it?
Yes.
Is this me?
It's me.
I think it is you. Who is you? No sound. Every single freaking day. What's on your mind?
Sports.
We can discuss free markets and we can discuss capitalism.
I'm gonna go start watching.
Libertarians. They're so stupid, though.
Common sense says, of course.
Gobbledygook.
We fucking nailed him!
So what's 79 plus 21?
Challenge met.
I'm positively quivering.
I believe 96, I want to say.
857-210-35. 501. 1/2. 3/8.
9/11, for instance.
$3,400, $1,900.
6, 5, 4, $3 trillion sold. It's a zero-sum game.
Actually, you're making me think less of it.
But let me say this. Poop.
Call it satire. Sam goes, it's satire.
On top of it all,
Yeah.
my favorite part about you is just like every day, all day, like everything you do.
Without a doubt. Hey, buddy, we see you. All right, folks.
It's just the weak being weeded out, obviously.
Yeah, sun's out, guns out. I don't know.
But you should know.
People just don't like to entertain ideas anymore.
I have a question. Who cares?
Our chat is enabled, folks.
I love it.
I do love that.
Look, gotta jump. Gotta be quick. I gotta jump.
I'm losing it, bro.
2 o'clock. We're already late, and the guy's being a dick. So screw him. Sent to a gulag?
Outrageous.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Love you, bye.
Love you. Bye-bye. We are back, Sam Seder on the Majority Report. It's the fun half. And how do you know? Because I said it in that fashion. Emma Vigeland out today. Alex G. Treehouse. Sam. Hey, Sam. I wrote you 6 years ago and told you I had just started as a masonry apprenticeship.